So, you want to learn how to beat Nelson, the most feared chess bot on all of chess.com. You've played all the other bots, you've beaten them with 3 crowns or 3 stars, but when it comes to Nelson, it seems like you just can't get around to winning. Well, don't worry, my friend, because today I will show you exactly how to beat Nelson. And all you need to do this is basically 2 things. First thing is pretty simple. All you need to know is a basic fundamental knowledge of any chess opening. It can be really any chess opening that you like or choose. And the second thing you need to know is basically the notion of what it means to gain tempo on an opponent's piece. And if you know this, I mean, you're good to go. And yeah, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. So let's jump straight into it, shall we? So we've got our chessboard here, and we're on the page of the chess.com bots. All you need to do is find that degenerate Nelson, load up a game, and here we go. Okay, so a good friend of mine always had trouble with playing Nelson, and he's a d4 player, so for that reason I'm gonna play d4. So this, my friend, is for you if you're watching this, and we're gonna play a Catalan setup. Or not, okay. And this makes perfect sense, you know, because this is exactly what Nelson loves to do. So if you don't know Nelson, what Nelson loves to do is go for early queen attacks. And he says it right to the side. You can't see it, but he says, don't you just love queens? I mean, I'm gonna love to take your queen, because you're not gonna get away with this. And immediately, the second move is already an imprecision, so this is just not good play for him. And queen h4, like, what's the idea of this move? And this is what I mean by understanding what it means to gain tempo. So we're gonna play knight f3 here, and we develop a piece of ours, and we're gonna kick this queen out. The queen will now have to leave to a different square. Okay, so they played this move, again moving the queen, and all we're gonna do is try and develop as quickly as possible without hanging any pieces or pawns, and get as many tempi as possible. So is there a move that develops that helps us develop a piece? Did I say that correctly? I think I said develop twice. Is there a move that develops a piece and hits the queen? Okay, knight c3 is pretty logical. The queen again will have to move another time. And you can see he's really asking for it, because he moved to a square where we can develop a piece and hit the queen again, and that is because our bishop is now seeing this queen through an x-ray. So if we ever move this pawn, it could be to e3 or it could be to e4. Both of these squares are going to hit the queen. Now, I think it's best to grab more center control, which is why I prefer e4 over e3. And also, if we play e3, then we're going to get our bishop locked in, and the bishop won't be able to exit and develop properly. So we're going to go for e4. And this is going to be interesting. What was he going to play here? Queen c6, okay. So I think queen d4 would be better for him, because at least that stops us from developing this bishop. Now we can't play bishop e3, let's say, because it would hang a pawn, and that would not be nice. Well, here goes queen c6. Is there any way to develop and gain tempo now? Well, there is, because now we can just develop our bishop. We developed a pawn with this move, but now we can develop a bishop as well and play bishop to b5. And again, he's gonna have to move the queen yet another time. So he moved the queen once, twice, thrice, I don't know what comes after thrice, 4 times, 5 times. That is not good development. That is really not good. But okay, let's look for ways to develop with more tempi. Well, okay, this piece is already developed, so I'm not really a fan of playing knight to h4, because if we do this, then yes, we attack the queen, but we're just moving to a square which is less centralized, and you know, there's not really any purpose for the knight being on h4. So is there a threat that Nelson has created? And this is very important, seeing the threats that he makes. So we can see he's attacking our g2 pawn, so all we're gonna do is find the best way to defend it, and you guys can probably find this move: castles. Okay, what's he gonna do now? So he's played knight c6, he's trying to develop some pieces finally. However, he's wasted so many tempi that now He hasn't moved any single piece except the knight off the back rank, and this leaves his position very exposed, and we're almost finished developing, so I think a good move here would be to go knight here, with the idea of forking him. Now we can play knight takes c7 and it's a fork. Huh? Huh? Dude, your knight is hanging. That's not defended. You can't take this. Okay. Now the question is, should we take this or should we not? If we take, he's gonna have to move the queen again. What's he gonna do? So if we play takes, he's gonna play queen takes c4 probably. Is there a good follow-up after that? Is there a way to develop and gain some more tempi and possibly defend the knight? Yes, there is. There's rook e1, really good move. And now if the queen moves again, we've got the discovered check along this e-file. So this looks really good. We'll just take this knight. Yep. Okay. He doesn't take the pawn because he sees it will lose too much material. And now he's got a threat. His threat is to play c6. And if he manages to play c6, what's going to happen is all three of these pieces are going to be hanging, basically. So this is a really good move for him. And, okay, we're going to have to defend one piece now. Which piece should we defend? Well, I think we should move this knight first, and the idea behind this move is, again, we can move the piece and we can attack the queen. We can go knight c4. However, is that the best move? I'm not sure. Maybe there may be better. Maybe some idea of bishop to f4, lining up a discovered attack on the queen. And then on the next move we play something like knight takes f7. Actually, maybe knight takes f7 now. Knight takes f7, hitting the queen and the rook. He's forced to take. Queen f3 check. Where does he go? Knight f6. Yeah, okay, we're not a fan of that. However, bishop here looks really good. Knight c4 looks good. What's he gonna play then? Possibly queen to c5. At which point we can gain some more tempi and play a move like b4. And b4, if I'm not mistaken, traps the queen. Okay. We are talking about an engine here, so the engine probably knows it's gonna blunder a queen. But again, it's Nelson. Nelson's just gonna move the queen all day. I kind of like this. I really like this. And another great thing about this move... Oh, he plays it. Okay. Another great thing about this move is when we play b4, the reason I say the queen is trapped is because you cannot take this bishop. Because if you take this bishop, there's this really cool tactic of knight takes c7, and then we hit the king, rook, and the queen at the same time. So I think b4 is just going to be flat out the best move. And he's probably going to use the queen. Okay. Okay, Nelson, okay. Should we take the queen? Should we take the pawn? Well, obviously we should look at taking the queen first. If takes, then bishop takes, and that's already a lot of material for us. We can just drop this bishop back to avoid this threat. If we take here, we deny him this possibility, but we're not winning the queen after king here. And really, we'd have to take the rook and settle for that, which doesn't look as good. So I will take the queen here. And we can figure out what to do with this bishop after. And actually, this isn't even a fork anymore because we just dropped the bishop back and we're doing good. So what to do now? Now we need to find some weaknesses in this position because he has weaknesses. He's played so many queen moves that it's not possible he doesn't have any weakness. So this is hanging, which makes it a weakness. This is hanging, which makes it a weakness. The king's still in the center, which is a weakness. Rooks are hanging, but there's no clear way to attack them now, so I think what we're going to do is focus on developing our pieces and try and do that with some threats. So a really clear threat would be to play bishop b2, attacking this pawn. Another threat would be to play queen g4, attacking this pawn. We could also play bishop f4 to the same effect, attacking the other pawn. But if we play bishop f4, he may play c6, and we may have just wasted a good developing move. Okay, we're up a queen, just a full queen, and probably a piece. So I think the best thing to do would be developing and making trades possible. You want to trade down material as much as possible. So I like the look of bishop b2. And if he takes us here, we're going to take him here and pick up his rook. Let's see what he does. So knight f6 would be really logical for him. He plays bishop there. So bishop g5 is not a good move. And the reason why it's not a good move is because it doesn't address our threat of just taking it. So we will take this pawn. The only way to save the rook now is to go bishop to f6, but then again, we are trading pieces. We could even consider just taking the rook, but I think just to be very instructive about this, I think I will take the bishop. Will I? Yeah, let's take the bishop. We're up so many points of material. We're up 10 points. There's no need to gain even more material. All we need to do is trade down, and that is just the formula for success. So again, it's always the same questions you're going to be asking. Can I develop and attack a piece? Not necessarily the queen now, because the queen, well, Nelson lost it, but we can play queen f3 with our queen and attack his knight, which is now unsafe. And if you know anything about chess, you know that it's good to castle and protect your king. And I have this analogy that I like to tell students, which is if you have a pot of gold and you don't want anyone to take that pot of gold, are you going to place it out in the open, or are you going to hide it away somewhere really hidden and safe? You're obviously going to hide it somewhere safe. And if you stick the king on e7, this king is not safe, it's wide out in the open, and all my pieces will be attacking it soon. So can we make any forwards progress and attack a piece? I really like the looks of this move, e5. And we are now getting dangerously close to his king. Dangerously close. Okay, can we develop another piece and attack something of his? It doesn't look like it in this position. Everything, although it's very far back and not developed, it is protected, so there's nothing we can do about this at the moment. All of his pieces are protected. So what would be the best idea? This is a really cool idea. We can bring this knight back, and by doing this we free up this c4 square, and we're threatening to play queen takes. And if he does that, then unfortunately he hangs this pawn now, and we can take this. Okay, that's very logical. There's a really funny move, which is knight d5. And if he takes the bishop, we're playing queen to e7 mate. And if he takes the knight, then maybe that is too ambitious. Yeah, okay. But that would have been cool. So yeah, I think we should drop back the bishop. Let's drop back and attack a piece. We can play bishop d3, and now we've got two attackers on this pawn. And he's now opening up his king severely. His king is really wide open, which is not good for him. So obviously I'm not thinking about taking this pawn because this would help him develop. He then has takes, but then we have check and take. Okay, so that looks good. Actually, it looks good. And this is the thing about these chess bots. They're gonna play some weird moves, they're gonna play some weird stuff. And the best way to beat them is to play their game. Just play in a very calculative way, and this is a very good way of training your calculation if that's something that you're aiming to do. Notice I didn't see this at first, but then when I started calculating it becomes clear to me. And many ideas in chess are just like that, where it's not very clear, but the more that we investigate and try and find the best moves, we will come to some core lines. So take this. He attacks our queen, we need to move the queen. I think taking the pawn is good because we're also pinning this bishop. And that's a very natural move. So I kind of feel like I want to bring some more pieces into the attack now. So rooks are good on open files. Which open file is best now? I don't like the looks of this because it's not creating any threats. I like the looks of this, however, because this bishop is hanging And if we move this knight out of the way, the bishop will be attacked, and that will be a future tempo we will gain. So tempo gains don't happen instantly. They may happen, well, they do happen instantly, but they not necessarily, is what I'm trying to say. And now I think it's good to just move this knight out of the way. And we're forcing some trades if he takes. If he does that, however, I think we can play a cool move here. I think we can play rook takes c6, knight takes c6, and then play queen d7, threatening checkmate on the back rank. And if he pushes, then we take the knight. And all of this is possible. This may look like a crazy sacrifice, but really it's not. It's just because we have so much piece activity and everything is so developed that this is possible. So queen here. He has to make a way for his king to escape, which is correct. And we can take this, we can do this. However, I think I see a better move, which would be to play knight d6 now. Not even taking the knight, but just going straight for checkmate, just bloodthirsty. And if he goes back like this, then it's still checkmate here on d8, so this is the move. Nelson saying I'm getting a bit worried about this one, as he should, because unfortunately, my friend, you have just blundered checkmate 2 different ways. Which one's prettier? That's what we've got left to decide. I really like this one. This is a bit more artistic in my mind. There we go. Queen to c8 mate. You can see you got 3 stars against Nelson. And yeah, that's how you beat Nelson. We got 0 mistakes, 0 blunders, 0 missed wins. Just bloodthirsty. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, follow, comment, subscribe, and yeah, I see you guys in some more chess videos. Bye.